Okay, so now that we know how to add prototypes to an object, I want to show you an alternate way to do that. So this is the way that we did in the last video. We have our constructor function, and then we can say whatever that constructor function is, dot prototype, dot, and whatever we want to call the function. So we have area, perimeter, and is square. So I'm going to show you another way to do this by first creating just an object literal with our prototype functions. So let's call this rectangle prototypes. And I'm going to set that to just an object literal. And let's add area. And we're going to set that to function. And let's just return this dot width times this dot height. So that's area. Then we'll have a comma here. And let's do perimeter. Say function. To get the perimeter, we're going to return 2 times the width plus the height. So that will give us the perimeter. And then I'm also going to add is square. So basically, if the width and the height are the same, then it's a square. So we'll return this dot height if it's equal to this dot width. All right, so now we just have an object of prototype. So obviously this isn't doing anything yet, but what we're going to do is use the object create method. And I'm going to put this into a function called create rectangle. So that way, whenever we want to create a new rectangle object, we can just use this function. And this is going to take in a height and a width. Okay, so this will be an alternate way to create rectangles other than using a constructor function. So we're going to return from this object. So we're going to use the object constructor's prototype method of create. So object create, and that's going to take in, first of all, an object with our prototypes. So what we just created up above. So we'll say rectangle prototypes, and then we pass in an object with any properties that we want. So let's say height. And the way we do this is we have the name of the property, and then we set the value to whatever we want. In this case, we're setting it to the height that's passed into the create rectangle function. And then we'll do the same with the width. So let's say width, and the value is going to be the width that's passed in. All right, so now whenever we want to create a rectangle object, we can say const rectangle, actually let's call this rect, and then we can just call create rectangle, and we can pass in a width and a height. Let's just do 1020, and then I'm going to just console log here. First of all, it's console log rect to see what we get, and you can see it's an object with a height and a width. Now if we look in the prototype, you'll see there's no constructor, right, because we didn't use a constructor function. But we do have our area is square, perimeter, and then this inherits the object base or the standard object constructor. Now if I want to call one of those methods, I can simply do the name of the object or the name of the instance and then the function. So if I do that, you'll see we get 200. So I don't even have to do rect.prototype.area because we used a custom prototype object. If I want to do, let's say is square, if I do that, then we get false. And of course you can create as many rectangles as you want, or as many objects as you want. If I do, let's say const rect 2 and use our create rectangle, let's say 2020, and then I should be able to console log here rect2 dot area, and I get 400 for that one. So again, it's just an alternate way of creating multiple objects. And I also wanted to just introduce you to object.create, which remember takes in an object of methods or an object of prototypes and then an object of your properties. And you'll be able to then use that to create new objects. All right, in the next video, we're going to look more into prototypical inheritance and the call method.